Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today I'm going to make a pen tip video, but today this pen tip may be a little bit longer than usual. The video of today will be about lubricating a piston filler pen, and I want to show you the variations. There were people that asked me on the comments and through social media how it would be interesting to make a video about that, so I've been thinking how I could address the question, and so that's what I'm going to do. So today we have here, just for illustration purposes by now, the Pelican M100, the very well-known stormtrooper. In my opinion, please pay attention that I'm not a repair person of pens. I repair my own pens sometimes, but I'm just giving you some tips. I'm not an authority about this, but what I think is that you should not try to grease up the mechanism, the piston mechanism of a pen that doesn't need it to be done. For me, that's the first thing. Don't fix something that it's not wrong. Another YouTuber that I like a lot, Wasky Squirrel, he says, first, do no harm. For me, it's the second one. First, don't do anything you don't need to do. So, let's see, how do you know that you should lubricate the piston? In my opinion, many pens don't need that kind of maintenance. If you buy a pen that was unused for many years or was stored with ink, or there is lots of dry ink inside, or if it was exposed to heat, maybe, and that makes sense, you should do something. Otherwise, you shouldn't. But if you have a pen that is taken care of, like this one, how do you know you need to put some grease on it? My opinion is, if the piston moves smoothly, you don't need to do it. If you see this continuous action, that is okay. You don't need to do anything to your pen. If you find your piston moves irregularly, like bumps, and this one does it, I don't know if you can hear it, but I will put the microphone next to the pen for you to hear this. I hope you heard the friction sound of the piston in the walls of the pen. Yes, you should grease it up. For me, this M100 doesn't need, because it moves smoothly, but this interesting German pen from this brand, Lux, needs. The first step is this. After that, you should decide how to do it. First, let's go to the do no harm stuff. There are pens where you just don't know how to do it. In the case of this pen, I'm not sure. This is a Montegrappa, the coral color. I'm not sure if the nib can be easily removed, and if it is easy to access the piston, because it doesn't even have an ink window, so I don't know. I don't think the piston can be removed from the back. It has this mechanism, it makes noise, clicking noise, but you don't have any information, so you don't really know how to open it. So if you don't try to do it, you may damage something. Another pen is this Spanish Super T pen that has this kind of interesting nib. So you cannot access by the nib, and you can unscrew this. But I read online this is very fragile, and I don't really know how to remove that. So I wouldn't. It works, but if it didn't, I would be very unsure how to deal with it. And there are other pens like this and this is a Faber-Castell, and it's called Castello 7. It is a piston filler, but it is this kind of a piston filler. The piston mechanism is glued, as far as I know, to the section, so I don't think I would ever be able to remove it. The great thing is that it is smooth. I bought this on flea market. I don't know, the pen maybe from the 70s or the 60s, and it works, so I will not do anything to it. When I need to ink it, I will ink it, and I will not worry about putting some silicone grease. You don't really need to fix something that is not broken. Okay, now you identified this pen you don't need, and this one you need to do something. This is the most common type of pen. It is the kind of pen where you can just, let me have the little bit of rubber, you can just grab the nib and unscrew it, because it has this kind of section that comes out very easily because it has threads, so done. Other pen that allows to do this is the Pelikan M100. You do the same thing. This section comes, this comes out, so you can access the piston from the front end. And you may think, and about the other end, you can't take this out. This is a permanent bond, so you cannot fix from this side. Just for information purposes, I have here a demonstrator Pelikan M605 that you can do it both ways. You can either remove the nib, or you can also unscrew the piston, take the piston out, but I will explain it later. So now let me just clean this out, and I will show you how to put some silicone grease on the piston of this green Lux pen. And now we took everything out of the way. We just have the nib and the cap. We don't need them now. We just need the pen. So the pen was bought on the flea market. It was cleaned, but it now needs to have some lubrication, and more because it has been cleaned. I added now a light here from this direction to be sure that we can see the transparency of the pen. It is important now. So we need these. We will need some silicone grease. You can buy it in every pen store. I bought a very big tube of it, and now I put it in several smaller containers. And you will need not an Altoids case, but you will need one of those, the Q-tip to apply it, or just a toothpick. I prefer to go with a toothpick to avoid getting fibers of the cotton inside the pen that may clog the feet. However, doing this work on top of this burlap can also have some fibers there, but okay, let's do it. So first thing, that light will help us to see the transparency of the pen. First thing, we'll have to move the piston up because it will be easier. And the piston is there. I think you can easily see it there. It almost clicks because it glues itself to the wall of the pen. Now, what I will do is to pick my silicone grease and take, this is too much, maybe a little piece like this, just a very small amount. I will hold the pen and I will try to insert these through the camera. It will be hard. Insert these without touching the wall of the feed part, and then I will try to rub the head of the toothpick around the walls, and now I will just move it up and down sometimes. It's better, but it still needs a little bit more. So let's just repeat this operation. Okay, and I think this will do it. It is so little amount that you will not be able to see it, and then you just move it forwards and backwards a lot of times, and now it still clicks a little bit because it still sticks, but it will eventually feel much free, and I'm feeling that now, although it still makes that gluing to the walls noise. Okay, but I will do the rest of camera because you just need to repeat that until you're working. Okay, you can put a lot of that, there's no problem if you don't. You just need to not put any silicone grease around the feed because it will clog it, and the pen will skip. But if you do this, you're okay. I will then put a little bit more. Then you just screw the nib back on the pen, and it is done and ready to go. So this is how you will grease your piston filler pen. This is the way to go. Now I will show you the second type of pens, which are the pens that can be disassembled, and I have several here that I will show you. I can take this toothpick away and I will show you how we can do. The first pen that I got that can do that is this TWSBI Diamond 540. This is a pen that I will take this out of the way because the focusing of the camera goes there. This is the pen that gave me lots of trouble. It is cracked all over, but it was, I will uncap it, and the cap, even the cap is broken there, around this, broken completely. This pen is completely useless. But this pen was the first pen that I got that had this kind of working mechanism. What you do is you open all the pen, you move the piston forward, and then this pen comes with a tool, and when they have tools it's nice because you put the tool here. It has some facets, some plain facets where the tool will fit like this, and then you just need to unscrew it, and this will come. Let me see if it can go a little bit more. Okay, it all comes out. If you have a pen like this, what you'll do then is you will dip your toothpick inside the silicone grease, and you can grease two parts. You can grease the piston, obviously, then you put it back. And you can also, and I'll move this forward until this gets loose, and you can also put some silicone here, and this will make the action here move smoothly, and it will also move smoothly inside of the barrel because it is better made that way. So this is the way to go with this kind of pen. You can do it also in good working TWSBIs. That was my first experience with TWSBI. It was awful. The pen is cracked everywhere, but this one is not. This is a TWSBI Echo, and it has the same kind of mechanism. And this one, instead of the metal tool, it came with a plastic tool, which is much better because it will not hurt the mechanism. Although this is hidden away, so no problem. When you go and talk about the Pelican M800 or 805, there is some fun fact. is that the Pelican 100, 800 or 805 can fit the same tool as the TWSBI, and because this one is a fully transparent one, it's more important not to scratch anything. So the plastic one is great. You do just the same thing. I did this. That was the first time that I used the tool from TWSBI, was when I bought this pen to fully dismantle it and get it clean, because the pen was in used condition and I need to fully clean it. And the way I cleaned the pen, I know that I removed all residues of silicone grease, so I needed to lubricate it again. Also, on the same type of pen, where this is a Senator pen, I don't have any model name as usual with Senator. There, I already made a review of this pen. This is a beautiful pen, like a piston Parker 51 kind of. And in this kind of German pen, you have this blind cap that comes out, and this is the piston knob. And in this pen, if there is no tool that you can fit here, it has no flat sides where such a tool could go in. So what you do, you just hold the black threads that go into the barrel and you unscrew them like this. And when you get to the end of the threads, you can just pop it out. So now you can do your work here and your work there. You get the toothpick and you put silicone grease in both places. I don't really need to do that because I already did before I made the review of the pen, so this pen is good. I don't think I'll need to do this again for the next 20 years. I don't think you should do this every time you clean the pen. If you do, I think it means that you're over cleaning your pens. But that's just me. So what I showed you is that you can access pens from the front, like this one, or you can go through the back like this, removing the piston. However, this Pelican can go both ways because this can be removable and the nib also can be. But then there is even another kind of pens, from the ones where you can do some work, like this one. This is Eberhard Faber, and this is the model Oriental, and also piston-filler. And this pen is exactly the same kind of pen as this one. This is a Aero pen, and you cannot remove this part, at least that I found out of. This one is very worn, and you have this Aero nib. It doesn't unscrew. What you need to do in this kind of pens, you just grab your little rubber piece and then you take the nib and feed out. There they are. And now you can move the piston. This doesn't need work also because I had to fully clean it when I bought it. It came from the flea market. It was completely dirty and full of ink. Let me add the other light. And so I greased it and it works very smoothly. However, there is some dirt behind the piston. I think you can see that black thing coming forth and back, but I cannot access it, so I cannot clean it. And so this is also a way of working on your pens, is removing that. And you may ask, why can't I do this on that Faber-Castell? Because even if I remove this very small nib, I wouldn't have any room to, at least to my skills, to do that. And this part is glued to that one, so I don't think this one is possible to do this kind of work. So I reached the end of this video. I think the main messages of these are: you have 4 kinds of pens, the pens in which you can't do anything. There are the pens where you can access the piston by removing the nib. There are the pens that you can access the piston by removing the plunger or the piston rod, but these kind of pens you can usually also remove the nib and feed, but it is harder to put the toothpick from the front than to take this all out and grease it up in the right place. And you can also grease the mechanism itself. And then you have the pens that aren't made to be taken apart, but on those pens you can remove the nib and feed. Remember always, don't do it if you don't need to, and please be aware that you should not do any harm to your pens. This pen tip is the longest one that I made so far, but you asked for such a video. You didn't ask for a long video, but you asked for such a video, and I think I needed to do this as comprehensive as I could. This is all for today. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye.